Shall we buy this vehicle here? And also, what's the real difference between a base version, just a pure petrol engine, and a highly spec'd plug-in hybrid? Do we feel the weight difference? So this review will serve two different purposes and also a very personal one, because as you might have seen from our most recent episode, we are thinking about buying a new vehicle, and the 5 Series could be one of them. We're not focused on one vehicle yet, so this could be one, but it could also be one of the competitors or something completely different. And we'll have it here as the 3-liter 6-cylinder plug-in hybrid, because in Germany, this is the only possibility how you can still drive the famous BMW 3-liter 6-cylinder. It's only in combination with the plug-in hybrid system. In the US, you could still go for the pure petrol 3-liter 6-cylinder still. And we will compare it then with the second 5 Series from this new generation here, but with the base 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine, because I'm really looking forward to, do I feel this weight difference between these two vehicles? Yeah, and of course, will we end up buying one? We're going to find out here with Thomas Nautigefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. Only by BMW 5 Series in its new generation. Here also possible with the illuminated front grille, and you can see there's a flickering effect here in the headlamps. This is just on the camera. Usually we put ND filters on the camera that it doesn't happen, but today I think it looks kind of cool, this effect that the camera creates. It looks like a light show, so today I wanted to show that to you. The BMW logo has here the blue ring around. The electric versions have that, and also the plug-in hybrid. I think it also works with the rest of the BMW logo. A lot of black here in the front. You can see this one also has the extended shadow line. And here we have the second vehicle. Yes, I did change clothes for that. So this is Phytonic blue, and this one is equipped also with the M Sport package, but not with the M Sport package Pro, because the M Sport Pro would include this extended shadow line where you have the dark front grille. So here you can see if you go base or only with the M Sport package, then you have the bright grille, here also with the illumination as an option. And I honestly prefer this look here. What about Leah? No, she likes it with the black, dark and sporty look with the double kidney. So yeah, are you Team Leah or Team Thomas on the front grille? Tell me in the comments. We have to see if we come to an agreement on that one. The length here is 5 meters and 6 or 199 inches in this G60, G61 for the touring, then the internal code. The G30 would be the previous generation. That one is 10 centimeters or 4 inches shorter. And we are still thinking of, should we maybe get a used 5 Series from the G30? So that's still also into that thought process. Available here in the new generation as sedan, but once again also as the touring. And this will also be some point. I love sedans in the styling. Leah rather prefers the touring in the styling. One remark already in advance, 21-inch wheels we have on this one here, the biggest ones you can get for this one here. And they look amazing, definitely. I love the looks, but they do reduce the comfort significantly. So if you appreciate comfort while driving, then you should definitely go for smaller wheels. And once again, in the M Sport trim here, you have the contrast in the lower part, which would a little bit more look a little more subtle. This one also features a rear axis steering. It's an option, of course. And suspension logic is you have a base suspension, and then you have an optional adaptive suspension, which is combined with the rear axis steering. So they put that in one package, the adaptive suspension with that rear axis steering. There is also standard for all plugins, i5, the all-electric one, and also for all tourings, you have leveling, an air leveling for the rear axle. However, this does not have a direct effect on the riding comfort in the sense of a full air suspension. It is really rather that you keep the same level no matter how much load you have in the trunk. So especially for the touring versions, and because the plug-in hybrids and the i5, they in general have more weight with them. That's why they also get this air leveling system then as standard. So this very vehicle has it as well, being the 3-liter 6-cylinder plug-in hybrid. And let's just briefly talk about the engines, because they still offer a lot of choices. So here, pulling it twice in the front to open it, there we go. And they have 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol and diesel. They have 2-liter 4-cylinder and 3-liter 6-cylinder plug-in hybrids. There we go. In the US, you can still the 3-liter 6-cylinder as a pure petrol. Here in Germany, this would be the only chance to still get one here when I combine it with a plug-in hybrid drivetrain. You can also check about all the horsepower figures and our separate data comment and so on later on. And of course there's the i5, the pure electric version, and then there's the plug-in hybrid V8 in the M5. 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel is also available, as well as I said the 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel, so a wide variety of choices indeed for the engines. And that's what I was also looking for, to compare very distant engine versions this time. And to go in detail, 2,230 versus 1,800 kilograms. That's the weight, so 430 kilograms between the 550e, the 3-liter 6-cylinder plug-in hybrid, and the 520i. There's a different horsepower version. There's 530i in the US, by the way, so the 2-liter 4-cylinder pure petrol engine. So more than 400 kilos of difference in the weight. Will we feel that? And also in which situation? Acceleration difference is, by the way, this here is at 4.3 seconds, pretty quick. 7.5 seconds for the 520i. So I'm really looking forward to first drive like the fully spec'd one, plug-in hybrid. Almost 20 kilowatt hour is the battery, 19.4 kilowatt hour is the battery here for the plug-in hybrid. So you have a significant pure electric range, maybe like 80, 90 kilometers, so 50, 60 miles, something like that. So it's already well usable. And of course you have the nice sound from a 6-cylinder as well. And what I can also tell you so far is, even if the battery is depleted, it somewhat becomes like an internal hybrid, because you still have recuperation moments. And then you can gain back some energy when you're going downhill, when you're leaving the throttle and so on. Engine is shut down, you can save some fuel and so on. And yeah, you can drive this one here, I can already tell you so far, even with battery depleted, with some 7.5, 8 liters on 100 kilometers, so about 29 mpg US, 35 mpg UK. And that is, as I said, when the battery is depleted. If you charge the battery, of course, it really depends on how often you charge it. Do you drive all electric first? How long and so on? So it's always tough to say the real consumption for a plug-in hybrid. It's easy to say what's the petrol consumption for the plug-in hybrid when the battery is depleted. That's easier to say than commenting on the mix. And here the 520i, you can drive this one here in a very efficient way. So if you rather go cruise control, motorway and so on, 7 liters on 100 kilometers, they do build very efficient engines. And we see that the pure 6-cylinder, for example, you can get on the North American market, is also very efficient for the power it delivers. So our most recent test, no matter which vehicles we had, is that the BMW engines, both the 2-liter 4-cylinders and the 3-liter 6-cylinders, are, in comparison to the competitors, most of the time actually the most efficient ones. Yet they are also best in the transmission, you know, like the 8-speed automatic converter gearbox, very smooth, and also how like the engine feels, you know, like the responsiveness and how smooth the acceleration goes and how relatively linear it feels. So engine transmission wise and efficiency wise, recently the combustion engines were with BMW really on top of the game once again. And here the quick comparison to our second vehicle here in the Phytonic Blue. These are 20-inch wheels, also quite big, but one size smaller. Maybe also a little bit better compromise, because that does give you a little bit more comfort in driving. This is the key fob. There we go. Mineral white is the vehicle color here. Then the door handles fold out like this, and a good door closing sound, front and the rear. There we go. Inside of the doors are covered here in the top part, also a little bit soft, so that's nice. Leatherette covering right here. Interesting is that here, this will receive a model year upgrade very soon. So I actually like it that it is in a matte scheme, but some criticize it. So BMW will replace it for, wait for it, high gloss black. I can't really understand that. I think it's fine the way it is. Actually, ambient integration like here. The only thing I think they should have upgraded is here, fabric on the inside of the doors. Let's see about that, if the model year will change something there very soon.
And the entry badge.
Oh yeah, and you only have it in the M5 actually, so that's missing here. This is, however, the M Sport steering wheel. The base steering wheel would be animal free and actually feels like a better material meanwhile. So technology wise, the new materials are also better for the practical reasons, and of course then also more animal friendly. Like the seats, and they are really good quality. This is the Veganza material. You have this quilting here, and really soft and plush, nice comfort. And these are also not only heated but also cooled, and these are also the comfort seats. So the sport seats would be looking here in the shoulder area a little bit different. These are a little bit wider in this area, and you really have to know that. So looking deep into the configurator from a buyer's perspective, it is essential that you go for the 5 Series with the comfort seats. And it doesn't become that clear in the configurator because you have different options. You have the standard seat material, then you can get it here in this quilted version. Then you can also get the comfort package. But on top of the comfort package, you also have to pick the comfort seat. And sometimes it depends, of course, on market per market, the packaging. But I think it should have been made easier to the customer, because I went really deep into the configurator and also tested different 5 Series with different seats and found out that these ones are the way most comfortable one, and it makes a huge difference going from the base sport seat to this comfort seat here. So I can only recommend to go for the comfort seat with the vegan. Yeah, this is exactly my job.
My job is good looking from the outside.
So yeah, I like this. Or of course, this one's also available in the bright color. I would love that one in the bright color. That looks really amazing. Yeah, and then you can also get the seat cooling here. Even an advantage in comparison to the 7 Series, because here in the 5 Series, you can get these seats here with cooling function, whereas you can get the same material in the 7 Series without ventilation only. Also a little bit, yeah, not that logical, but these are also inside the segment to the competitors like, you know, Audi and Mercedes. Yeah, probably best in class. Really nicely done. Welcome to this cockpit, which I think looks clean and modern. Biggest thing I criticize is I love the ambient lighting here, definitely. Different colors to pick, and also changes with the driving modes, for example. Like if you go to the sport mode, see here all the color change to red then. But in the 7 Series, it goes through here, this light bar, and here we have this split. And I think it just disturbs the eye. It has to go through, like in one line. Or maybe that's just my OCD. Tell me in the comments, yeah. Leah is laughing now again. Yeah, she says it's my OCD. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Here we have the carbon fiber. We have seen the carbon fiber exterior package, and also fits here to the carbon fiber interior package in this case. And the screens also look, you know, high res and so on. Wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. However, the only thing is that I like better in the previous generation, in the G30, that you had like the manual climate unit. Here now, the climate unit is in the screen. And you always have to do it in the touchscreen here. And also when you activate seat heating, seat cooling, steering wheel heating, you always have this 2-step activate here. You get used to it. It's at least like an easy and intuitive control, but still the physical dials were easier to control, especially while driving. While stationary, who cares? But while driving, especially better when you have the real buttons. But the rest of the cockpit still gives you like a welcoming feeling. Here in the front, you have an inductive charging pad. It's also ventilated. Just on the left side though, the right side is just like putting something. The rubber material here is, however, so-so from the like looks and so on. Nice that we have an illumination here around the cup holders. They are also nicely adaptive. And also good that we still have this lower controller, that we don't have to do everything in touchscreen, that we can still do some controls also then from down below. Split armrest. Also some clutter underneath, and it's also soft enough for your elbow. Here we also have the shifting pedals, for example, and I really always love like really hammering in these indicators, and yeah, it's really a lot of fun to do that actually. Should also encourage every BMW driver to use the turning indicators. You know, there's like this myth out there. I'm not sure if it's true or not. Some say it's true, some say it's not, that BMW drivers would not use the turning indicators. And I just say like, how cool it is to put them in. You gotta use them, really. Driver POV, let's start the vehicle. Here, volume control, right side of the steering wheel, for example, you still have some real buttons. Also here, press and hold set to deactivate that speed limit chime. Digital instruments, here these red lights, they also only appear on camera. You can also change something of the layout, the whole layout of the whole thing. And you also get a head-up display if you like, although that's optionally. And here, by the way, the personal mode. So what I would wish is, when you go to the sport mode, you have more feedback from the steering. It's a little bit stiffer, but you also have like the high revs. I would wish for actually a personal mode, like the standard mode, but with more steering feedback. At this moment it's not possible, but BMW told me they are working on that. And as a quick comparison, look at that. Here the 520i, the base version, there you only have a limited ambient lighting, so not this big light bar, just a little more subtle. But some might even prefer that. Now the rear seats, they do profit here from the panoramic roof, which you cannot open. Talked about that. First of all, inside of the doors, this is also nicely and softly covered, so that's a good build quality. Here also the optional Bose and Wilkins sound system, great sound. Just here the inside of the doors is not covered again. Then the Veganza seat material is also really plush here for the rear seats, so they have like a soft seating comfort. Isofix here is on the outside each. And the middle console here for the climate unit. You can also have seat heating in the rear, for example. The only thing with this segment is that you don't have too much legroom. You have this recess here at the back of the seat, so it does fit for tall adults. But considering the length, of course, it's not too much legroom. But I think in the Audi A6 it was even a little bit less recently. And headroom also works here in the sedan. Also not too much, but with 189, 602 it still works. And here you can fold down this here, and even has good adaptive cup holders here. So that's, you know, I mean, it definitely does the job. Here also with a ski hatch, and the Touring of course would have a little bit more flexibility here as for the headroom.
Maybe 7 Series then?
Maybe 7 Series. For legroom, then a 7 Series. Good idea, Leah. Just a quick look here at the trunk, and my main aspect is here. I mean, I love the sedan from the styling, but here, this is kind of limited. There, the Touring would just give us so much more flexibility. Here, in this case, we have 2 charging cables in here, and if we want to fold the seats in the sedan, we can unlock it here, and then you either have to push it through here, like this, or go around. But definitely, like, this is a real limitation then if you want to buy something bulky, for example, if you want to go to the famous Deutscher Baumarkt, like, you know, like a Home Depot in the US, something like that, you know, like this construction market, then there's hardly anything you can fit in the sedan trunk. That's the thing. So it's always a question of like, you going for the exterior design, or yeah, or if you want to go shopping with Leah to IKEA and get something back in the vehicle. Sport mode. Ooh. Woo. 50 to 160. This is here the 550e, the 3-liter 6-cylinder plug-in hybrid. I wanted this case here, still with the battery depleted, to make it also more interesting for our viewers from the Northern American market, because they buy usually the 3-liter 6-cylinder without the plug-in hybrid version, and also to make it more comparable to the other version we have there, power-wise, at least, you know, like as a direct comparison. Still, I want to also talk about the plug-in hybrid features here very soon, because I have a lot to talk about that, or a lot to say about that as well. But definitely, when you're cruising in the city and so on, that 4 with a 6-cylinder is maybe not that important. But here on the motorway, when you really push it and when you drive higher speeds, then it's actually pretty cool. Can't deny that. Of course, better sound, but since everything is so well insulated meanwhile, also the sound difference is not that large anymore, honestly, but just gives you, of course, more punch, more drive. And the best acceleration figure you score with this one here is 4.3 seconds. It's at 7.5 then with the smaller petrol engine we have here today, but here also this kick down here then, yeah, it just gives you a very nice boost, but in a smooth way. Definitely really like that. It's really a gem of the engine, definitely is. And what's even more pronounced here in the sport mode is, of course, that you just have like the RPM goes a little bit higher. At the same time, it's not exaggerated, and I also keep it in the D mode and not in the S shifting mode here. I can also pull that. Okay, interesting. Why? So the D mode is also the best for acceleration. The S shifting mode would be the best like for winding corners and stuff, because the RPM are kept higher even, and the gears are lower, but that's not the optimum situation for best acceleration. It's just better than if you have like corner, slower, quicker stuff, like for changing speeds and so on. But here for best acceleration, sport mode, but keep it in the D mode. In the sport mode here, I have also more response from the steering. That is a more likable thing to me. And I would prefer actually for long motorway rides also this rather firmer steering setting, but then in the personal driving mode with the softer suspension. And I heard that BMW is working to offer that possibility. Looking forward if that one is maybe then possible. I don't know if it's also possible then as a retrofit at some point. We will keep you updated on that. Here at 150 kilometers an hour. As for noise insulation, think good level.
Yeah.
Leah, as a noise insulation expert, gives also thumbs up for that one. It's nice, very comfortable feeling. And although we have 21-inch wheels mounted here, the suspension gives us good comfort. Yes, in the BMW 5 Series versus E-Class review, we felt that the E-Class with the air suspension gives more suspension comfort, that's true. And also, when the road is even like this here, it's absolutely fine with the big wheels. But as soon as there are some potholes, bumps and so on, it's better to stick with the smaller wheels. So for more comfort, don't go for the 21-inch wheels. By that you can really change comfort or sportiness in the characteristics. And this car feels so at ease here, 160 kilometers an hour, and it's really easy, like lane changing and so on. It's a lot of fun.
It's like 100.
Yeah, it's like driving
crazy,
on 100 with a different vehicle. That's really, really cool. And of course, these extremely comfortable seats, best in class seats here, they are amazing. So for long motorway journeys, it's really a very, very fun car. Then about these plug-in hybrid aspects here, for example, when I'm on the brakes, there's also recuperation. If I would also go downhill, I can regenerate energy. Even if the battery is not charged externally, it always gives some kind of advantages also, it's also charged then just while driving here and there. And you always have situations where you're sometimes off the gas again, then it also gives some electric boost. But of course, when you really hammer the throttle, then most is done with that 6-cylinder. And from the normal driving situations in the city at slower speeds, even here on the motorway when you do some lane changing, we had the same with the BMW i5, which is comparable in the weight here. You do not feel the heavy weight. At least we'll find out more about that very soon when we directly hop from one car to another. Yes, that will be super interesting. Also one of the reasons I'm doing that review here today. But I'm looking forward to, maybe when you know our reviews here from this German part here, this German Autobahn part, there's soon coming like this S combination. And for example, when we had the BMW M5, which is the 4.4 liter V8 plug-in hybrid, so like similar, only that it's here the 6-cylinder, but that one even adds more weight. And there we both felt like, yeah, we kind of feel that weight. At the same time, it had more power even, and that creates much more force on everyone, So looking forward to that difference here very soon. Yeah, here in the personal mode, I think the steering is sometimes a little bit too light. That was also, for example, a thing. Steering and suspension we felt is actually better with the E-Class. Seating again is better with the 5 Series. So always looking very into the detail. We can once again go to the sport mode. Yeah, that I always have to confirm it again. At least I can do it from below. I don't have to confirm it in the screen, but still could be an easier solution to pick the driving modes. Here now in the corners, and will be also interesting how Leah actually feels that. I mean, it's a lot of fun, definitely. Now here the car's being pushing a little bit. You feel it's not like a light sports car, but it's still fun to do that. Yeah, a little bit reminds us of the feeling from the M5. Comparable, better, worse? What do you think with the M5?
A little bit better, maybe.
A little bit better, maybe, yeah?
But you feel it, yeah.
Do you feel the weight?
Yeah.
For me, it was kind of still okay, holding onto the steering. But you feel that?
Maybe I need my own steering wheel.
Yeah, Leah needs a fake steering wheel on the right side as well. Like Maggie has in the Simpsons intro. So here, let's push it one more time. You saw the ambient lighting. Yes. Yeah, this is the 6-cylinder, definitely. I mean, in these situations, okay, let's squeeze in there, let's go for that. Then the 6-cylinder does bring you that smile and this yes. Just it brings you the yes out. That's really, really cool. Yeah, so definitely when you are at more steady speeds in the city, you can also go for the 2-liter 4-cylinder plug-in hybrid. But if you, let's say, have German Autobahn situations, then the 6-cylinder will still bring that smile back, so to speak. Let's do here acceleration, a little bit exaggerated lane changes and so on. How is that? That's
It's
okay?
fine,
That's
yeah.
okay? Yeah, I mean, in a way, the M5, of course, was even more extreme, you know, just demanding more of your body. That's definitely better here. So I would still say for me, it's fine. And I mean, like really throwing that car into corners, probably not what you would do with this car on an everyday basis. So I think that should be okay. But I'm so excited to see if this will be like way different with that base engine when we have like these 430 kilograms less, because that's a huge difference inside a vehicle, you know. And now about the cruise control here, Assist Plus Ready offers to me, it's a 900 euro extra, and then I can take my hands off the steering wheel in a legal way. It's still level 2, I'm still responsible. It's here also the green symbols at the steering wheel. And now the car, it's doing its thing. I'm still, you know, looking at the road and everything, and I'm not supposed to use my smartphone. Now also it's offering me a lane change, and when it's offering, then I can look to the side mirror, and just by the look to the side mirror, I tell the car I want to change the lane, because here the car is being overtaken then. Let's see if it also offers us to go back again. There we go. Now I'm looking to the right mirror, and the car is switching lanes once again, and it's really good. Very good system.
my mom was watching our video, and she was like, sorry, she was like, oh my God, Thomas is driving you without hands? That's
and with
crazy.
my eyes, and with my eyes. Yeah.
And she was like, what? That's not okay.
So I have to be, very mindful not to go into any fight with my mother-in-law. Dangerous situation, definitely. But no, of course, like we're all good, and we could explain to her that Leah is very safe here in the BMW, because the level 2 systems here are extremely reliable. Really, this lane change with looking at the mirror is not working like all the time, because some situations have to be met that the car really wants to be sure that we can do that, you know, and it's okay, and it's offering to you when you can actually do that. But most of the time I use it like this, just cruising, setting the the speed, sometimes also with a lower speed on the right lane and so on, and it's actually fine, and you feel extremely safe doing that. And something that the German premium manufacturers, especially BMW, they're doing it extremely well. So many testing kilometers in there, and there has never been like a false positive or a false negative. It just didn't happen, you know, at least not yet. So this is something really impressive, especially here. I think at this moment, this is my favorite level 2 system on the market. And level 3 is available in the 7 Series up to 60 kilometers an hour. Level 3 is then that the car really is responsible in case something happens. And Mercedes is offering that for the S-Class up to 95 kilometers an hour. My neighbor, who's been driving an S-Class for a couple of years, however, said he tried to activate that a lot of times, but there were not so many situations where he could really use it. Now, for example, here, also this one in level 2, car wants me to overtake. Why? Because the car is sensing, probably from the map data as well, that there will be a construction site very soon. And then it says, want to be safe in the construction site, we don't want to do that. And you can see already the Baustellenschild. Listen and repeat. Baustellenschild, construction site sign. That's the German lesson for today. So yeah, really impressed how good that system here is. And it works here on the motorway up to speeds of 130 kilometers an hour. And now I'm looking forward to how will be the driving experience with the 520i, so with the 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine. And will it be more of a joy for Leah especially, because it's lighter? And now driving the small petrol engine, the 4-cylinder, sport mode. That was 50 to 140. I mean, here in the sport mode, we have some sound actuation. That sounds a little bit sporty, but clearly there was no Leah meter going off with this one here. The acceleration figure 7.5 seconds. And
it was chilly, yeah.
It was chilly, yeah. I mean, for most situations, you'll be somewhat fine, since it does have a turbo. When you hit the throttle, there's still something coming, you know, but
from the outside it looks a little bit crazier, and when you see
it looks.
and then it is.
Looks more
Yeah.
stunning from
Yeah.
the outside, definitely. Yeah, and it was really like when we were starting driving through, I say, not so much difference to the other one, but definitely the acceleration difference is the most significant thing here so far. Of course, when we put it in the corners, we were looking forward to if we really feel the weight difference now. Just rolling forward, rolling straight, and so on, there's not so much difference. We do not have the panoramic roof here, so this one is the closed roof, and I think that helps the car in staying
Not so loud, maybe,
more
yeah.
silent.
Yeah.
We don't have dual glazed windows. That's I'm missing. That's what I'm missing in the 5 Series in the new generation here. So that's why from the sides also a little bit louder than at higher speeds in comparison to a similar car with dual glazed windows. Or if you go for a 7 Series, for example, where you can order that option. It's weird that's even an option for the 7 Series though, right? But at least they offer it there. But here, not at all. Still, once again, drives very well. Pretty confident here on the motorway. And if you don't do the most crazy acceleration maneuvers, in most cases it will be fine. Let's do some lane change in here when we are at higher speeds. Feels really nice. Go back and forth. Pretty cool. So good in control. And also a nice feeling for the brakes. Sometimes what I did feel with the plug-in hybrid system, what's better here than now, so with the PHEV, like these transitions are usually nicely done. However, sometimes when you brake really hard, then it's switching back to the petrol engine being on. It's sometimes a little bit confusing when then also gear shift is taking place and so on. So the one thing with the pure combustion engine or with the pure electric is that the stuff is more predictable. And when you have the plug-in hybrid drivetrain, it's sometimes that it's not that perfect, you know what I mean? It's very well done for a plug-in hybrid, but sometimes not 100% perfect. For example, we also had situations when you're like rolling in the EV mode, like in the basement garage while parking, and then suddenly the combustion engine hops on, that the car makes like a slight hop forward in that case. And that's probably the worst thing about the plug-in hybrid. Other than that, you also have good advantages, of course. You know, you can commute electrically in the city and so on. But here then with the pure combustion engine, yes, it's not that powerful, got to say that. However, it kind of also feels one with the weak, you know. It is in a way pure. You do have the mild hybrid system here, so we can have some recuperation for internal consumers and so on, but that's about it. But driving straight here on the motorway, I mean, the 6-cylinder also didn't have the best internal sound, so to speak, so that's not too big of a difference. I feel that even the sound emulation, they made it stronger here in the sport mode here with the 4-cylinder. That's a very interesting finding for sure. But normal speed on the motorway, both cars feel kind of similar. I do have the slight feeling that I somehow already feel like the less weight. It's 430 kilograms.
I feel the suspension is better.
Suspension is better, you say?
Maybe because there is not that much weight when you go over a bump or something.
Could be. So Leah says she does feel some like better suspension, even like when we are in these waves here. Yeah, I think it does feel a little bit lighter already. So and that's a likable thing, definitely. But it's of course not that much when you're driving just straight. So I'm looking forward, when we soon approach this S combination. Really nice behavior also at higher speeds and so on. So it is an engine you can actually go for if you want to save some money from the list price especially. Then again, the plug-in hybrid might have tax benefits like it is in Germany. Depending on the country, and the taxation method, and if you're really using it as a business customer or as a private customer and so on. But definitely if you look at the list price, this one would already do fine if you don't expect too much from the acceleration figure at all. You know what I mean? So considering we saved about 28,000 euros with the spec vehicle from this to the other, this one does not have all the options, but most of the options the other have. Still, you save significant amounts of money there. That's the thing. So one thing that I was looking forward to is this more unified feeling with the vehicle, lighter vehicle, and let's say a pure drivetrain. The electric ones also drive really great. They are of course heavier then again. So the most agile one in the corners should exactly be this base engine here. Once again, 520 in the EU market, 530 in the US market. Ooh, that was not really loud. The Igo did before us that. So now we're in this S combination, putting the car in. Yeah, it's really nicely done. Oh, that 5 Series was changing the lane without using the turning indicators. A lot of not allowed things happening here. What'd you say? Better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit better, right? I mean, we've been driving this corner here with the M5. We also have been driving with the 520D, which is similar to this one in weight, a little bit heavier. Then with the 550E, and now with the 520i. So 4 different engine combinations for the 5 Series we drove in the very same corner, very same way here. So we have a very good comparison basis as for that. So let's see, let's accelerate here. I mean, these situations where I like want to gain speed quickly now. Yeah, ambient lighting, pretty cool. There we go. Yeah, that of course takes time. And there was like when we had the 3-liter 6-cylinder, was really going nuts.
But it's enough.
Did you see, by the way, this one doesn't have like the full ambient lighting package, just like the slide one, where it doesn't have like the full light bar.
I think it's cooler.
Yeah, it's a little bit more subtle, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, comment.
It's not that.
Comment to that if you like the subtle ambient lighting here, or if like the stronger one. Some more going back and forth here. It does feel lighter.
Yeah.
Definitely does feel lighter. Yeah,
It's better, yeah.
I mean, in a way, like when you have like this really high weight from the 550e, it also gives you some confidence and also calmness on the road. But as soon as you move this one here in a more agile way, it's really better. And I also, like when I'm looking at Leah's face, and drive more agile, I always see like she's not into that car because like feeling a little bit unwell or something like that. But she definitely looks way better. I mean, you look better or great like every day, of course, but you know what I mean, guys.
Yeah.
And so better like in the 550e, like the facial expression, she's way more relaxed, and yeah, quite often when we are in these heavy vehicles, she doesn't look that relaxed in the corners. There are some exceptions though, sometimes we do have heavy vehicles and even SUVs where it's also fine, but it really depends individually on the vehicle. So yeah, I really gotta say, weight and driving wise, this is better. I mean, yeah, you don't have the best acceleration. Maybe if you want a mix of both, then it could be a 520D for you. I don't know. Depending on if you like, if you have a diesel available anyway. Or remember, in the Northern American market, you can get this one here, 530i, which has a little bit more power. That could actually be like the gold middle. But gotta say, the plug-in hybrid does have its advantages, but yeah, in driving, yeah, can't be beaten when there's just less weight. It's always better in the driving, definitely. So first, to this engine comparison, the plug-in hybrid concept is actually, on the one hand, pretty good, and it's also well executed. The only thing here is when you're driving really slowly, we had that with the M5 plug-in hybrid as well, driving really slowly electric, and then the combustion engine hops on while parking in and out and so on, then it makes like this hop. They really need to fix that. Other than that, the transitions are also very nicely done and so on. It's also fun driving the plug-in hybrid, and also you can trim it on the very efficient one. And no matter if you have the 3-liter 6-cylinder or the 2-liter 4-cylinder, they are all very efficient, like the engines themselves actually. Overall, of course, it was the problem with the weight of the plug-in hybrid, the same we felt also with the M5. So as much as I like the 3-liter 6-cylinder in this heavy plug-in hybrid combination, it's not the best for agile driving. On the Northern American market, you can get the 3-liter 6-cylinder still as a pure petrol engine. That might be the most fun, the best choice then for the customers there. In Europe, maybe then the 540D, there you get the 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel. If you want like the really big punch, still want the 6-cylinder. If you're rather thinking of the petrol version, this could be something because the car is the lightest then with the 520i or the 530i. So as for the agile driving performance, that's actually the best one, although you have the least performance or the weakest performance in the acceleration. Very interesting, definitely. Maybe the 4-cylinder plug-in could also be something if you think in taxation, because when I now thinking of like our own purchase, the plug-in hybrid is tempting because you can save a lot in taxes, in the monthly taxation for the private use of a business vehicle. So that might move a lot of European customers then definitely to the 2-liter 4-cylinder plug-in hybrid. Yeah, a lot of engine choices they still offer there, but I think, for the best like performance and still not too much weight, as I said, North American market, the 3 or 6-cylinder petrol engine, 540i, or then the 540d for the European market. And when you then think about taxation and money and so on, might be then the 530e as the best choice. And of course this one here, if you say, I'm not fancying this acceleration, but I like the agile driving and so on, making it light and also lower in the list price and so on. So that was a very interesting experience. Quickly to the prices, by the way, like spec as they stand here. So this one here, the 520i, with a lot of spec, not all the best in business, but a lot already, 80,000 euros. However, the 550e with even more bells and whistles, 6-cylinder and battery and so on, plug-in hybrid, 108,000 euros. So there's a 28,000 euro difference between the two vehicles we're showing you here. And overall, would we purchase one now in general, no matter like what engine version? What is tempting here with this new generation, also if you compare it to the previous one, the G30, are the seats definitely. The seats are best in class, especially here in this comfort pack plus comfort seat option. And they are so much better than all of the competitors. And I mean, yes, they're animal free, but also in the pure comfort, they are so well executed that you can drive miles and miles and miles with them and don't worry about your comfort and your lumbar area and so on. And I've just been testing also the G30, just statically taking a seat in there, and I was surprised how big the difference is. What I do criticize here with the 5 Series, that they don't offer dual glazed windows. They don't offer a full air suspension. And you can actually get that with the Mercedes E-Class or with the Audi A6. But then the question is, of course, if the seating comfort or the suspension comfort is more important, that's always the thing. So still overall, it will be still our list. We're still also thinking about, what's the difference to the BMW 7 Series. There are very good offers for the i7 at this moment here, for example. That you can maybe get an i7 cheaper than the 5 Series actually. That's very interesting. We'll keep you updated on that. The X3 is also very interesting because it also has very good seats. Then, of course, the visuals. Leah was not so keen on the visual of the new X3, but the X3 also has the advantage that it's a little bit shorter, of course, than the 5 Series. And we just tested the X3 versus the X5 statically in the dealer. And the X3 seats are actually more comfortable than in the new generation than with the X5. So very curious findings. We'll keep on digging in our purchase process. So it was very interesting for me, this tour of these both vehicles here today. And maybe if you fancied this episode, we can do that with some other cars driving the same car in different engine specs. Sometimes when we are on driving events, we try to do that for you because it can make so much difference. Recently with the Zeekr 7X, we drove the one without air suspension, and suddenly the version without the air suspension drove so much better than the version with the air suspension. So sometimes it's really about the individual spec of the vehicle, and suddenly they feel kind of different. So yeah, stay tuned here on our channel. If you like this episode, join for more.